Thanks, Zach. Okay, so we got 13 people in here. Let's wait a little bit. Sorry again for the technical difficulties. Today's shirt says what? Stop. Quit staring at my bass. All right. So we got 16 in here. Let's wait a little bit. 15, 17. We're going. Okay. So I hope you guys all had a great week. I had like a crazy week. Crazy week. But anyways, that's life in the big city. We're up to 18. Jason Kennedy's there. That's awesome. Tom's there. All right, we're up to 20. All right, are we ready to go, or do you want to wait another minute or two? We did say 8 o'clock. Love the shirt, but yeah, thanks, man. I got this from, my wife got this for me. And look, if Jack Summers is here yet, I don't think he is. Right now, time's right. The clock is set. Okay, so let's talk about rigging some soft plastic stuff. I'm gonna cover some swim baits, different types of swim baits, different styles. I'm gonna talk about some punching baits. Hey, how you doing, Andy? Josh is there. Holy smokes, man. We got everybody coming in. Josh is in. Josh is in the house. So we're going to talk about some swim baits, different styles, different brands. We're going to talk about rigging them, some cool stuff that I do that, you know, maybe you might think is cool. We're going to talk about some dragon baits. And just for my friend Steven, who should be in here now. Steven, are you there? Steven, you know who you are. Charlie is there also. I'm glad the clock's on time. Yeah, no kidding, Daniel. I'm telling you, bro. Anyway, so we got a bunch of baits here. We got a bunch of, somebody was wanted me to talk about rigging a Senko. I just can't bring myself to do it, but no, that's really kind of kidding. Okay, here we go. So let's start with swim baits. Yeah. You want to start with swim baits? Yeah, let's start with swim baits. Okay. So I'm gonna start with a bait here. How you doing, Mark? I'm gonna start with a bait here that is basically a thin swim bait, one of the original ones. Thanks, Ken. I don't think I can handle the pay cut. This is actually called a skinny dipper. Friend of mine, Mike Brown, put me onto this a whole bunch of years ago, and pretty simple to rig. Okay, I like to use a 5/0 owner rigging hook, okay, for a couple of reasons. I like for it to have that type of a shank on it. You can see that because it helps hold the bait on. So, simple way to rig it, Texas rig, but I'm going to show you a different way to do it. So here's the standard way. Rig it down the middle. All right, pull it through like this. Bring it back around. You guys have seen it on every show out there in the world. And you rig it and you kind of slightly Texpose it and the bait hangs straight. So you throw this thing. It's great surface bait, right? You wing it out there and you reel it across the top. It's like a little tiny buzz bait. But I'm going to show you a little trick. This is the way the bait is designed to run, right? Smooth side down, ripple side up. This is the way I rig it. I flip the bait around and I pull it out the top. Then I do the exact same rigging, but if you can imagine, now the bait is running upside down. It's running upside down. But if you can imagine the bait's going through the surface of the water like this, yeah, it's going to kick up a little bit of water. But you turn around and you flip that tail where it goes this way, I'm telling you, it will kick up twice the amount of splash on the surface as you're speed reeling it across the surface. So, you know, most people will rig this little swim bait this way, right? You can see, tail down. Rig it the other way. Hey, Steve, rig the tail the other way. So the water is going to hit this part here, and this part of the tail is just going to flap twice as much. twice as much as it used to before. So that's one little trick. One other thing that you can do with that swim bait, or this is another swim bait by True North. This one is a little shorter, a little fatter. It is a soft buzz bait, you're right. So you turn around and take this one. Now, this one has more of a fatter body in it. I know I can relate. So it has a built-in keel. So it's basically going to continue to run this way. Now, one other thing you can do with these smaller swim baits, this that I like to do, is you can play around with them and put a small, this one here is about a 3/8, and a 3/8 is good. So you can take the same bait, rig it up with the weight on it, let her slide down, and I always peg my sinkers. I never even flip even any baits without a peg sinker. It's just the way it is. I know some guys don't, but I do. Then now I've got a bullet weight on the front. Gives a little bit more weight to throw, and still you can wing this thing around pads, you can skip it under trees, you can do all kinds of stuff. Now, just to let you know, the knot that I tie on this, I don't know what it's called, and I'll show you later if you really want. A couple of things I'm going to show you is, yes, I'm using yellow line, and I'm using it just because I pitch and flip with it all the time. But what I'll do is I'll take some black, marker and black this up. But I want to show you something here. I've just used a straight regular knot, and this hook is just going to pull straight. Doesn't really sound that much of a big deal, but it is, and I'll explain later. So now I'm going to go back to this True North one where it's got a little bit more of a keel to the front part of the bait. This one would be great to rig. I'm using a 4/0 hook again, a 4/0 for this side of the bait, size of bait. Texposed again. No swim bait head, straight up bullet sinker. You can go to a 1/2 ounce on this thing. You can go to a 3/4 on that, and you can slow roll that through some weed. Not Trudeau's weed, but regular old weed, deep weed. Pull that through. It's going to have a totally different look to it. Totally different. Now, these baits have got a different type of a paddle tail on them. And that's important when you're looking at a swim bait. Again, what are you trying to achieve? So if you look at the one that's on this True North bait, that's a pretty big paddle. Okay? Whereas you look at the one that I had, it's a smaller paddle and it's more tapered. Again, if you take this paddle and you turn it around upside down and you run it through the surface, soft buzz bait. So while we're on that, let's talk about some frogs. So when you're going to throw a soft frog, some guys like to throw like a live target frog. I like the hard bait. I like the hard frogs. 2 great big hooks on them. Pretty cool. But it's not really a swimming frog. Some of them have the two tails on them that they'll kick along. For me, I like to throw a soft frog, and again, a couple of different styles. So we have this one here, which has the double kickers on it. I like the one that's about 3.5 inches long. Again, I like a 5/0 owner rigging hook. Same way. Texas rig. Again, you can even put an 1/8 ounce head, an 1/8 ounce or a 1/4 ounce sinker on this one. Peg it. Ultra Tungsten has the rubber stoppers that you slide up inside that. I like that much better than putting the rubber stopper and a bead coming down. So again, I like that fact that we've got this little part in the hook that is gonna, if this comes off, it's still holding it on pretty tight. Then we've got this one here, which everybody is familiar with, the Strike King ones, the Rage Toads. Gonna kick up way more disturbance on the top of the water. Or you've got the True North one here, which has this type of almost like a speed tail. This one's not going to throw up as much as this one will. So you got to figure out what you want, right? If those fish are getting a little bit picky, or maybe there's a bit of a cold front or it's early in the morning, probably go with this one. over this one. The fish start getting super aggressive, good idea. One little trick too, all of these baits, all of these frog baits, do not be afraid to put them on the back of a buzz bait. We've all seen it. We've all watched FLW and BASS. These guys are throwing a buzz bait with nothing else on it but one of these little horny toad things. So good idea, something to think about. So there's the topwater frog thing. I'm going to talk about a bait that two baits that not a lot of people throw anymore, and y'all should. All right. One of them is the good old sluggo. This bad boy has been catching fish forever and ever and ever. But I'm going to show you something different. I like to throw, again, 5/0 owner. A 5/0 owner offset hook. All right? I'm going to show you something cool. So, rig it the same way, straight down the middle. And some guys will just pull it out right about there. And that's fine. Pull it through. Bring it around, thread it. So now it's caught in that little notch, right? You put the bend on it. Usually on a 5/0 owner, it is that very first ring. Bring it through, and there it is hanging straight. I fish this bait really fast, but slow. I fish it like a jerk bait. Twitch, 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 pause, twitch, and that bait will dart. But I'm gonna show you a little trick to make it dart, jump, and sink. Watch. Can't even believe I'm showing anybody this. But that's why we're here, right? So, what I do is take that same 5/0 hook, that same bait. I put this down, right down the middle, keep going, and I pull it out about an inch down the bait. Now, let me explain why. There. Now, any of you guys that are near your keyboards and you want to answer, why do you think I'm rigging it like that? Anybody? Why do you think? Why do you think I'm putting this hook way down here? Scotty Berry's in the house. That's awesome. I'm going to show you. When you twitch this bait, or I twitch this bait, watch what happens. Look, the nose of the bait turns. So now I can make this bait do whatever I want it to do. With the way that it was rigged in the beginning, you're twitching along and it's darting side to side. If I turn around and I put the nose down on my rod and I twitch it, the line tie pulls the bait down, and you're right, Mike, it's going to make it dive. Now it's super erratic. That's right. So if I've got a fish following, and I'm twitching it, if I lift the rod tip and twitch it, the nose lifts, that bait, I'm not kidding you, will literally come right out of the water. It comes right out of the water. That is going to drive them nuts. You got a fish following it, whether it's a smallmouth or a largemouth, doing that little adjustment to it, you can make that bait still go left and right and left and right. You can drop the rod tip and it will dive. I'm not saying it's going to dive 20 feet, but it'll probably go down another 6 or 8 inches. And when you look at a 5-pound fish that's only 10 inches deep, it's a long way, right? Same thing as making them jump right up out of the water. So just a little trick to that, give that little hello, a little this way, a little that way, a little this way. Kind of cool. Another bait that has not been thrown for a while for big largemouth and smallmouth is a 5.5-inch white tube. Yep, 5.5-inch white tube. So for this bad boy, I like to throw a 6/0 gammy hook, and I like the big bite. Okay. Same thing, Texas rig it along. Bring it up, bury it. And I'm telling you, that will flat out catch him. You can skip this under anything. Yes, you can't. Yes, I have rigged it backwards. Scotty, that's a good point. You take that tube, you can rig it backwards like Scotty said, and that bait will back down and flare out up into a fish. So, you know, those 5-inch white tubes, they are just not for lake trout fishing. Kind of a good thing to do. Let's see. Let's head back to the swim bait stuff because there's still some stuff I was using it. Hey, Rachel. Hey, no, it's Logan. Hey, Logan. It's my buddy all the way from Chicago. He's a heck of a fisherman. He's a good little guy, I'll tell you. I miss you, Logan. You rock, man. I got more secrets just for you, Logan. Let's see. Yeah, swim bait. So, a couple of different things. We've got the little megabass ones, you know, like we like to drop shot. Then we have some of the spark shad ones, you know, for smallmouth and for largemouth. So let's talk about swim bait heads, right? We've got fish heads. Let me get this one out. And I'm telling you, I've got a couple of different things that I like to do with these. If you look at these underspins, the way that I see it, as long as it's a minnow head and it's, you know, got an eye and a spinner on it, I'm good with it. So if I take this bait, this swim bait, and I turn around and I don't expose these things, I turn around and just straight up thread her down the middle, pop it up through, slide it up on the head, and we are good to go. I'll show you here in a second. Good to go. Usually they come with a 3 or a 4-aught hook, right? Turn around, there's your underspin, right? That there will flat catch them like everywhere, absolutely everywhere. Now, if I turn around, and I'm kind of weird this way. Actually, I'm weird in a lot of ways, but 1 second. And I take these bigger megabass. These are the bigger megabass, right? These ones are like 3-inch, 4 1/4. This is a little bit of an idiosyncrasy for me. Great swim bait all day long. Great swim bait all day long. But I wouldn't put this on a fish head because I don't like the 2 eyes. It's just the way I am. Some people might say, oh, it's a little fish chasing a big fish. I can't pull it off, man. Just can't pull it off. So for that, I would use a different swim bait head with no eye on it. All right? Or I would take the eye off of the megabass swim bait. That would be the same thing for, where'd my other little swim bait go? Whether you're going to throw a skinny dipper or you're going to throw the True North bait, or even if you're going to throw these little tiny finesse shads. Same type of a deal. Thread it up on there. These are the Kitech ones, nice and soft. Thread it right back up there, and you're good to go. Right? No big secret. Kind of neat to know. One other little thing that I know Kyle's using down in Alabama. He may not tell anybody he is, but he is. These bad boys. This one's got some bucktail on it because when I was down in Alabama, I didn't even put a swim bait on there. I just threw this. You can get a hold of some of these wobbly heads here. The amount of action that thing is going to fire onto any swim bait, it's redonkulous. Absolutely redonkulous. Okay, lots of underspins, different weights, different applications. You know, we've got some of them that are 4-aught hooks, 5-aught hooks. That thing will snug right up in front. If I take a look, this is going to be a little big for this swim bait. Let me see. Grab one of these other smaller ones. Still, I don't have any little itty bitty ones. But still, when you rig that on here, you want that bait to be snug up to the front. Now, one little trick too. If you don't have a good collar on here, all you can do is just take a little bit of a lighter. Some guys will put super glue. I just glue my fingers together. So take a little lighter, heat this up. The lead gets hot. Slide it on. Good to go. You know, slide on that head because that's hot. True North, they've got some great soft plastic, so it'll melt on there pretty quick. That right there, deadly. You may think that's too big of a hook. Hey, Steve, you're right, man. Old guys rule. So this is a 3.5-inch swim bait, 1/4 ounce head, big hook. No problem. You know, you start wheeling this thing through the weeds. You just give it a quick snap, no problem. See the head? Head profile is important. You know, if you just turn around and throw a ball head jig on there, it's not going to happen. Now, I've got some other heads in here that are pretty cool. And I think, I can't remember which ones these bad boys are. But it's a little bit longer shaft on them, and it has a nice profile up on the head. I think these are Buckeyes. It's got a little two keepers on it here, thin wire hook. Thanks, Joey, you're awesome. Hey, I thought I saw you're selling your boat, man. That's a good Ranger. So these things come in 8s, 3/8, all kinds, halves. Again, slow rolling down in some of that deeper water is great. Some of the ones you can get have got, some of the hooks you can get have a keeper on it and a little blade. A little underspin blade, a little different. I want to show you something here. Let's see here. Where did I put those bad boys? Man, I have stuff all over the back of my boat. Oh, here they are. So again, I'm a big owner guy. I like their hooks. They're sharp. There's two little things that they've got here. These are the flashy shimmers. And it's a bit of an, again, there's a weight, actually, if you can see that, there's a weight on the hook, and then there's a little bit of a blade under there. You know, and sometimes this one here is a copper, kind of a Colorado blade. This one is a willow leaf blade. Again, size of the hook and the weight are going to really be determined by, right here, see? Really determined by the bait. So if I was going to use this on this small swim bait, again, it's got a little keeper on it. Put that keeper to the front. Give it a couple of twists. Take her to the center. And away we go. Tie up into here. Not only are you going to get a little kick on the tails, but you're also going to get that little bit of a flash. But what I like is, look how far back the flash is, keeps it away from the hook. I was up in Georgian Bay, smashing them one year on that. Then they stopped biting. So all I did was I changed to this one, to the little gold Colorado, went through the same, through the same area, whack them again. So sometimes those little changes are pretty cool. And it's a different rig. Absolutely a different rig. And the good thing about it is it's Texas rig, right? So you can take this through some rock. You can take this through some light weed. It's got a good heavy hook on it. Pretty good deal. What else are we talking about? Okay, so while we're talking about swim baits, we've talked about swim baits on the top, just under the surface, and deep, right? Now, let's talk about a swim bait on the bottom. So I'm going to take the same swim bait and I'm going to think about dragging with it. Draggy, draggy, draggy. Let's see. We got one here. I thought I had one out. Give me 1 second. I'm just walking down the aisle here. Okay. Don't leave. You take those. I'm back. So let's take this one. This is a Freedom head, Freedom tackle. See, it's got the football head on it. Straight odd hook right there. Take that same swim bait, which was right here. Turn around. Don't get fancy. Take that swim bait, thread her right back up. All the way through. And just thread this all the way through. Now, what I like about the Freedom head on here is it's got this keeper, this spring keeper. Push this right through all of that spring action. Leave it a little bit short. And you know what you have yourself there? Right there, that's money. That is a great dragon bait. You can turn around and you can do it. Hey, fish, right on. You can turn around and drag this bad boy. Because it's a Freedom head, it's going to move all over the place. That there is going to be your goby imitation. Can't tell you that color right now. Kind of secret. Working on some stuff. The guys at with Jamie at True North, we're doing some cool stuff. Good guy. Good size bait. But that there, dragging that swim bait. It's killer, man. I'm telling you. Looks like a goby. Tastes like a goby. Yes, I've eaten goby. When you're on the water and you get hungry, you're going to do what you need to do. Now, along those same lines, we've got these bad boys. Y'all have seen these, right? These are friggin' awesome. Angler's Choice. This is a custom color that we get at the Canadian Tackle store. This is an awesome little goby looking little bait. Now, Peter has come up with these cool little hooks, little weight, and I know the cats at, let's see here. Let me see. Got a spring on it. You can thread that up in there, right? Supposed to thread it up right here. Hold on. Shh. Listen to Sparkus Fisher. So there, now it's hanging right there. It's hanging on the hook. And then, you know, you're supposed to kind of texpose this up and bring the hook up. And it rides like this. All good in the hood. Me, I do things differently, my friends. So the first thing I do is I take off this little spring thing, right? Take off the spring. Take the hook, take the bait, thread it into his face, push that bad boy right through his eyeballs. Now, by doing this, now it's right up inside. Almost rides like a tube. Look. Lots of hook sticking through the bait. Lots. Same effect. But it's not my favorite way to fish it. Yes, guys drop shot it, but I'm talking about fishing it on the bottom. I'm going to show you my favorite way. My favorite way. Get yourself a set of these bad boys. They come in all different weights. Freedom, same thing. You can use the Freedom ones. It's good. But I changed the hook. Again, I like the Gamakatsu. Got to stick with my bud, Aaron Martins. I call him my bud. I've never met him before. But I'm sure if he met me, he would think I was freaking awesome. And I already think he's awesome. So I thread this through, just like this. Bring it right through. It's got a little keeper on it, that hook. Now, look what we've got. Now, we got ourselves a live, wobbling head. Again, shh. Brother, that's why we're here, right? I got to share this all before I forget. So, look. Now we get a little wobbly head, and look at the hook. This is only a 2-aught hook, but that is all bite. All bite. Might work, caught a 6-pounder. Well, you know, we all have our lucky days, bud. You can do that, you know, with a, I just like the smaller head. And again, when you start looking at heads, we talked about this in when we were talking about jigs. The tungsten head's going to be smaller. I like a lead one. It's a little wider. There's a lot of things in my life that I like wide, and one of them is on my football heads. Something to think about. Let's see. A lot of love from my friends at Freedom Tackle. Want to show you a nice little secret here. I don't know if it's a secret, but I learned it a couple of years ago, and I'm going to share it with you. Let's see. Here it is. This is a big power bait swim bait. First time I started using this technique, I was using an X-Zone Swammer. Great swim bait, and trust me when I say this, nobody pays me to say anything, and nobody gives me anything, and I don't need it. But when I first started throwing it, I was throwing an X-Zone Swammer. Now, this is a 1/2-ounce Buckeye jig with a 5-aught hook on it. I will take this and throw this on a 7'6" medium heavy. Thanks for fixing the clock. You're welcome, Mr. OCD. 7'4", 7'6" medium heavy bait casting rod, 20-pound braid, long 12-pound fluorocarbon leader on Lake Simcoe in the fall. I mean, I'm sure you could use it everywhere else, but Lake Simcoe in the fall, deadly. I mean, absolutely deadly. Put this on a bait caster, throw this as far as you can, get yourself over 35, 40 feet of water, count it down about halfway, and slow reel it in. And they will stomp on this stupid thing. Again, I switched over to the power bait because it's a tougher bait. When I am absolutely hammering this thing out, I mean, it's almost like you're standing on the warning track and you've got to get the ball all the way to the plate. I mean, I haul this thing as far as I can throw it. And I found that the Swammer is such a soft swim bait that it was sliding down up the hook, and it was like someone was pulling his pants down. So again, application is really important for your swim baits. I mean, if you're going to use a really soft swim bait, you probably don't want to be honking it out there 120 yards. This bad boy, I'm telling you, it looks like I'm skipping stones out there, throwing it as far as I can friggin' throw it. Just a great little secret for Simcoe. Big fish bait, again, swimming through schools. Some of you cats that are going to be hopefully qualifying for the CSFL Classic on Lake of Bays, do not be afraid to throw this great big bugger out there in the middle of open water. So that's kind of cool. Let's see. The other thing I'm going to tell you, I loved throwing this bad boy, don't get me wrong, but I really dialed into some bigger fish with this setup. Again, Freedom Tackle Head. I just seemed to get bigger fish on it, and I don't know if it was because of the realistic eyes or the movement in the head made the swim bait work differently. Just going from, let's look at it. Let's look at it together. So there it is, no problem. Big fish on Tri-Lakes. You are 100% right. So this was the exact same color I was using on Simcoe, and this is how I was rigging it. You tell me. So it comes with a little keeper. I'm not concerned about that. I'm not trying to Texas rig this bad boy. So it comes with a little keeper, and I thread this right up close, but still leaving enough room so the bait can swing. So let's thread this up. Yeah, that's an old song. I'm old. Okay, swing this through. Again, it's gonna look ugly. I'm telling you, it is gonna look ugly, but it is deadly. So look now. Ignore the little screw thing there, because it doesn't matter. Again, a little bit of movement in the head. And I think that with the amount of action that comes on this thing, the joint between the head and the bait, it's just swinging back there. It is absolutely just swinging. Steven, don't tell everybody your nickname. Come on, bro. The other thing now that I would do on this, to change that a little bit, let me just do this on the Freedom Head. I'm going to take this hook off, and I'm going to go to a big bite right here. Look at this. Big bite, straight shank hook. I'm going to put this on. I'm telling you, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I put it on upside down like I just did. Get that stuff figured out, Dunner. Straight shank, 5/0 hook. You can go to 6. It really won't matter because you want to get them. So there we go. There's the Freedom Head with the 5/0 big ass hook. I'm going to take that big swim bait again. I'm going to thread this up, completely thread it. Right through the bait. Pull it through. Pull it through. Look at that. Don't get no better than that, folks. Look. Look at that. Look at the profile, because these fish, they see that swim bait underneath, and that's what they see. Look at that profile. Look at the head profile. Okay, Alicia, are you saying the bait or me? Because you said sweet looking, and I'm hoping that you're thinking it's me, but we'll go with the bait. But that swing in action right there, as that's moving, is pretty awesome. If I was throwing the white one on a little bit, hey, I see that laughy face emoji. So if I look at it this way, if I'm throwing the white one, then I went to this one. Oh, TJ's there. Hey, dude, you know, I was just kidding, right, bro? You know I'm kidding. You, of course. Don't be, you're just flirting now. So look at the difference now. Look at the difference. And I don't know if a lot of people notice this on the Freedom heads. Look where the eye position is on the top. But on this one, off the nose. In this application, I'm telling you, these Freedom cats have got this stuff figured out. Nick is there. Great. Hi, Nick. I see you. I still love your shit. It's the best. Look at this. I mean, this is like, you know, I don't know, 2 gummies and a shot of Jack and listen to, you know, whatever you like to listen to. But that there is deadly, man. Quinny, rolling this out there where all them cats are out there. They're down there with them crankbaits. Just slide in there. It's a good deal. A really good bait. Now, you can do that with the same thing on the True North swim baits. Again, it's got its a little bit of a keel. It's got a little pot belly on it. I like that. Again, figure out what you're trying to do, right? If you're going to be doing, again, last little bit on swim baits here. If you're going to throw the mega bass, I don't know if Nick is in here, but I have a lot of mega bass because I'm kind of weird that way. Little slimmer, more tail action, clearer water. That's the deal. And don't be afraid to drop shot that bad boy too. Okay, so I think we covered the swim bait stuff. Top, bottom, open water, kind of cool. Now, we covered that stuff. The tube, the sluggo. I mean, you turn around and you can fish any of that other stuff, right? If you're looking at, you know, like a jerk shad or any of that other kind of stuff, again, you can use the same rigging. Now let's talk about line and rods, okay? If I'm throwing a frog, a swimming frog, I'm probably going to go medium heavy because I need, that bait's just not as heavy as a regular frog, right? Most of them got a little weight into it. Probably going to throw that on 20-pound braid. Believe it or not, no problem. The 20-pound braid is going to cut right through that stuff. Joey, I'm winning at Lake of Bays. Yeah, we'll see, bud. 20-pound braid for any kind of a swimming frog, no fluorocarbon. If I'm throwing this bad boy, a little bit more kicking on it, I'm going to have a lot more aggressive hits, I believe. I'm throwing that on 50. It's going to be the same rod that I throw a frog rod on, which is nothing shorter than 7 feet. I won't throw a 610. I like everything up over 7 feet. Okay. Let's talk about something that is near and dear to my heart outside of those Oshawa Generals, because I miss them. And I'm sure all you cats who follow me on Facebook miss 2 days a week me going at the Jenny's game. So let's talk about punching. I mean punching, right? Flipping, punching through pads, punching through slop, punching through all kinds of stuff. And there is, I don't know, I never throw swim baits on mono. Yeah, for sure. Like if I'm fishing Lake Simcoe or Lake Erie, yeah, you know, again, like I was talking before, Scotty, you know, the straight up mono thing I really haven't gotten really cool with, other than a hair jig or a spy bait. So even on that, for those things, I will put like a 10 to 12 foot leader of fluorocarbon. And then back to drag off, use a soft rod. And on those types of things, what Pete, you can feel free now, Tony, to leave. That'd be great. If I'm throwing a swim bait, you know, for that kind of stuff, it's just my deal. I just can't seem to pull myself to use straight up mono or fluorocarbon. So let's get back to punching. Before we do that, let's talk about the age-old question that's out there about whether or not guys are straight up tying to the hook, or if guys are going to, or fishermen or fisher ladies or everybody else there fishing, is going to straight up tie to the hook. I'm going to show you a little demonstration that I'm sure you've seen, but there's something in there that maybe you haven't thought of. So if you're pitching and flipping bait, right? You got a heavy bait on there. This one is a 3/4 ounce, because yeah, that's what I'll pitch and flip heavy cover with. So of course I'm using a straight shank hook. I don't use an offset hook for this type of a setup. If I turn around and I set the hook on this bait comes straight up, right? We've all seen this demonstration. Straight up, comes straight up, the hook comes straight up. To snell or not snell, Aaron, this is where we're going, my brother. I want you to picture something. The fish grabs the bait, and then he's going to swim. They don't swim right at you all the time. They may move down, they may move up, they may do the... This is a 3/4 ounce tungsten sinker. This is a hammer. When you go to set the hook on this leverage right here is going to move the fish's head. And when it opens up the fish's mouth, you know what happens? This weight is going to open the fish's mouth in that direction that you're yanking on. It is bullet. Because remember, when we set the hook, the first thing that we have to do is the fish has got the bread. And I'm telling you guys, everybody out there who's fished smallmouth, if you're only setting the hook once on a big, giant Lake Simcoe, Lake Erie, Lake Simcoe smallmouth, if you're only setting the hook once, please keep doing it when we're fishing for money. But if you want to catch fish, big fish, set that hook once, twice, sometimes 3 times. Because how many times have you set the hook on a big fish and you're fighting it, then they open their mouth and the tube comes flying out? Because they are cranched. They are on that bait. And when they open their mouths, that bait just comes straight out. Straight out. The hook follows the sinker. So, let's talk about snell. I always snell. Always. Reason? Let's look at it. Right there. Set the hook. Look at the hook. 45. 45. That is going to get them one way or the other. One way or the other. Even if this big weight is going to knock that fish's head, this hook is coming out on an angle. And with a straight shank hook, look at the gap between here and here. Look at the gap. That is 2 fingers wide. If I look at this, coming straight through, it is a 1/2 finger from the outside of the weight to the point of the hook. I likes my chances. I really likes my chances with this bad boy. I really do. So when it comes to flipping, any kind of heavy cover, I'm going with tungsten. And I like a sinker. Again, I like the ultra tungsten sinkers. I like them tapered. I like them egg-shaped. I find that it gives me a little bit more movement in the bait rather than that being like a straight up, tube all the way down. It kind of secures the bait. Every single one I use, I will peg it with, again, these rubber stoppers I get from Ultra Tungsten. Drive that right up through the middle of the bait. I'll pull one off here. Pretty simple. There's the hole. There's the rubber stopper. They come in small, medium, and large, just like we do. Pull it through the middle. Caps it off in the bottom. Then you take your scissors, cut that off. Right there. That keeps that sinker straight, keeps it tight. Life is good. Okay? So let's talk about baits. So, one of my favorite flipping baits is right here. This is a little beaver tail. If Kramer's still there, he knows where these come from. Small, compact. I like to pull the tails apart. Pull the tails apart. It's a fairly thin bait. I like it thin because I get better hook penetration on it. And I like to move the bait back and forth up in the slot. Okay? And we'll talk about that right now. So when I'm fishing a bit of cover, right? If I'm fishing some heavy cover, what I like to do is punch through that bait, punch through that cover, but I don't like it to get all the way to the bottom. I don't want it to get to the bottom. I don't want that fish coming down there, sucking up off of there, pulling up all the mud and soot. I'm trying to imitate a crayfish or something feeding on the bottom. So what I'll do is I'll pitch that in there. It'll go through. I'll let it go to the bottom quickly. Then I just kind of saw it back and forth so I can figure out what the depth is. Then I kind of pull it up just so the sinker hits the bottom of the cover. And then I drop it down about 3-4 inches and just kind of do that back and forth. And you'll see the fish will just come up and thump it. It looks like either a bluegill feeding under there, a bit of crayfish in the summer. The crayfish get underneath those mats. And especially if you're fishing cover that is along channels where boatways are. Boats are going through there. They're rocking that slop. Stuff is falling down. And that's what those fish are used to seeing. So I like this one here. Sometimes I'll go to something like this. Again, you can see there's not many appendages on this because I want it to get through. You know, True North's got another bait like this, the same thing. For me, if I was punching heavy cover, I would pull these claws off and I'd fish it that way. Streamline, getting through, goes through, snap it back up. That flash is good. Sometimes if the fish need a little coaxing, this is one that I get poured in Florida. It's got those little ridged craws. Again, streamlined. See the way the shoulders are? It's all round shouldered. You know, kind of meek and kind of like, yeah, I'll just leave that there. Here's another one that I like to use. I get this poured in Florida. Look at the way those claws are coming off the body. Almost at like a 30-degree angle. This one here is from X-Zone. This is a great bait. You know, again, it's a great trailer, but again, it's also a really good punch bait. So for this, I would throw on a 4/0 owner hook. Again, I would Texpose this one. Not a straight shank hook. I would put this on a 4/0 or a 3/0, believe it or not, that's fine. Owner hook. And slide that bad boy right there through the cover. It's nuts. Absolutely nuts. Make sure it's straight. Make sure it goes through. Life is actually pretty good. So we covered hooks, line. Let's talk about line. For me, all yellow line, right? I'm old. I like to see that line go boop. If it's black line, green line, and I'm pitching out there, I don't pitch 10 feet away. You know, when I'm fishing cover, I like to be 15, 20, 30 feet away. Or 30 yards away, as far as I can get. And don't be afraid to make some friggin' noise. Any of those out there who's fished with me, I'll take that heavy bait and I'll throw that sucker up there 30, 40 feet in the air and it comes through going boom. And I'm telling you, you lift it up, bang, there's a fish on it. They're not afraid. You know, that's just, it gets their attention. So we covered those, some craws. Let's talk about stinkos. All right. I know there's lots of stinko guys out there. Scotty Barry's got more stinkos than Carter's got pills. That's what his big secret is on rice. He Carolina rigs a Senko and he hooks it through the side. So when we talk about Senko, say like, hey bro, you throwing a Senko? Yeah, I'm throwing a Senko. You throwing a Senko? I'm throwing a Senko. Hey, let's look at a Senko. So every one of these Senkos, look. Which one are you throwing? Are you throwing the Scotty Barry Senko or the Danny Dunn Senko? Oh, Dick. Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, the Scotty Barry Senko and the Danny Dunn Senko. So, believe it or not, this I use to replace a worm. Yep. I will take this, for example, fish this on a 6/0 hook because it's so big, and I'll pull this back and I will rig this bad boy Mendingo. I will rig this bad boy almost like I do my sluggo, just like that. Don't worry, do not worry that the fact that that hook is only 1/3 of the way down the bait. That's good because you want that tail to kind of float up in here. Plus, they eat it head first. So they're going to get up into there where the business area is of this great big thing. Now this is heavy, right? So you can even fish this thing without a weight on it, break it off about here, and skip it under stuff. This little Senko here, the Scotty Berry, we'll call this the Scotty Berry. Chunky is funky. This is the Scotty Berry Senko. This one is, let's see, it's about my fist, so it's about 5 inches, 4.5 inches. This is what I will fish in slop. That little tiny Senko on a 3/8. You know, if I'm going to fish a bait like this, I need 3/4. You do. If I'm going to fish this little sucker, I can get away with 3/8, and it'll slide right through there like a Saturday night. So, different Senkos out there. Mike Nabalsi used to make these big bad boys, these things here. Love them. I still have hundreds and hundreds of them. We got the Gambler one. I like the thicker ones, believe it or not. X-Zone again. You know, they've got their stick up in here. True North has theirs as well. Again, what kind of a profile? What, you know, could you use a 6-inch Senko to fish slop? Sure you could. But I'm telling you, look at the difference in those two. The Berkeley ones are great too. I like the Berkeley ones in the 2 sizes that they've got going on. Again, you can take those things and you can, you know, you can Texas rig them. Texas rig is great. Now, for a Senko, a lot of guys like to fish them, or a lot of guys and girls, or I'm just going to say fishermen. A lot of fishermen, they like to put that little rubber thing on there, and then they wacky rig a Senko. I'm telling you now, I don't throw a Senko enough that I'm going to wacky rig that bad boy. Sorry, not going to do it. That's what a partner's for. You know, that's just not what I do. So what I'll take is a 4/0 offset hook. Thread her through, pull her back, almost, I rig it almost identical to what I do with my Sluggo. Give it the opportunity to have a little bit of movement up in the head, and I just fish it like that. No weight. Just no weight. You know, look, still that little bit of action. It's still going to fall. It's still going to go like this and all that other stuff that Senkos do and people get excited about. You know, you can do all kinds of cool stuff. You can put a little tiny finishing nail there to make it fall this way. I just don't carry that much stuff in the boat. I don't. There's lots of different ways that you can do it. You know, you can put that little rubber sinker right up here where supposedly the egg sac is. And then, you know, kind of fish it that way. I just Texas rig it. Sometimes I'll put a 16th or a 32nd weight on it just to kind of get it down a little bit. I'll skip it under trees, skip it under whatever I need to do. If I've gone through some fish or some other people have gone through some fish, that's just one good way. Hey, Finley, you should write a book on Senkos because you're the Senko guy. The only guy who throws them more than Scotty Berry is you, or maybe Chris Watton, and he's probably sleeping already because it's late. So Senkos. The other thing you can do with these bad boys, old technique, because I'm old, is jig worm. Anybody ever seen a jig worm before? Show you. Pretty cool. I got to go back over to the wall. And Gamakatsu. Gamakatsu again. I like some of the stuff that they do. You can use a regular old ball head, or if Kyle's still there, I'm sure he's throwing them out on Gunnersville with a great big old worm on them. I like the Gamakatsu. I like what they do with this little hook up in here. See that? And you can take this, thread it right on, all the way along downtown, and fish it like that. Just with a straight up ball head, and just with that. Who do you think taught Dan? Yeah, that's it. What I like though, is I like a longer shank hook on it. I don't like a short shank hook on it. Same for the swim bait stuff. Again, the hooks, they've got a little bit longer shank on them. Come on, we know jig worms don't work. I'm telling you, Al Linder and Babe Winkleman and all those cats, that's what all that stuff was all about, man. So we had Senkos, we got a couple of other little baits, some swim baits, the tube, some punching plastics. Anybody got any questions? I was just throwing all this stuff out there, just blabbing on. Any questions at all? Anybody? Any questions? We've almost been an hour. I was told through some positive feedback to try to keep it to an hour. So I'm almost bang on. Any questions from anybody? We good? I guess we're going to count it down. Are we good? 44, we're at 50 people. Okay, I think that's it. Oh, who still throws a fluke? I do. Do you have paddle tail flukes? What? Did he say that? He said that. Paddle tail flukes. I'm telling you. So Joey, okay, who throws that other little funky rig with a three-way on it, with a short line and a longer line? Yeah, we'll talk about that another time. Rob is there. Keep doing these. Yeah, we do, bro. This is our third one. So a fluke, great bait. Paddle tail flukes, I still have tons of those things. Again, you can throw that on a straight up minnow head. You can talk about, thanks Alicia, you guys are awesome. What about colors? Well, I'm telling you, colors are pretty interesting. I like to say that colors, good night, Tom. Colors really are meant to catch fishermen. All right, Logan, I can't wait till you come see you, man. I miss you, man. Love you. I do. I miss you all, your mom and dad. You're going to make me cry. I miss you, Logan. Anyways, he's my nephew's little boy. Anyways, keep it together. I lost my train of thought. Anyways, so I can't remember what I was talking about. Oh, fluke. So you can take that thing and you can put either a minnow head on that, like an 1/8 ounce, 3/8 ounce, just like the jerkbait, right? And fish it down a little bit deeper. Now colors, clearer water, more natural, until you have to go bold, right? Pinks, chartreuse, all those other kinds of things, really, really important. I like to throw darker colors because I feel that whenever I'm throwing a frog or I'm throwing anything that the fish are looking up at, I like to have a darker color, even though, you know, you see these frogs. Now, we're going to be working with Jamie over there at True North. We're going to come out with some custom colors on this stuff. Where on the topwater bait, you know, you can see them with the yellow on the top. When I fish this frog, I'm telling you, this is no lie, I will fish this frog upside down. And why? Because I want them to see the dark profile looking up. And I want to see the yellow, because if that's way out there, how many times you've been fishing a frog, a topwater frog, and you're throwing a black frog? And you're like, has he got it? Oh, got to feel if he's there. Then all of a sudden the frog floats back up. Just like those mega bass jerkbaits that I showed you, there's one of the jerkbaits that I love to throw in the tri-lakes, and it's got a chartreuse top head on it. And that's because when I'm working it back, I can see it. When I'm going to throw a Senko, which only because Scotty Barry is going to make me do it. Hey, look, X-Zone, there's a candy cane. Anyways, when it comes to the X-Zone ones or any other kind of a Senko that I'm fishing in open water, I like these natural, thanks, sweetheart. I like these natural colors. I like a little bit of green on the top and a little white. I like the June bugs. This one is killer on rice. This is you can see that it's like a smoke purple with a bit of gold in it. If I'm going to be dunking any kind of a Senko, yeah, it is a rivet. It is, Chris. I like, for some reason, it just works for me to either use black with a little bit of a chartreuse tip, or I go straight to this laminated color, which is the Caesars and pizza, kind of a black on the top with a burgundy on the bottom. This here, when the fish are really get excited again, I like to stay with pretty basic colors, right? Something a little bit more natural. On Skugog, believe it or not, when it gets tough and I'm sliding those stupid things under a dock or into a tree, I like to go with something with a little bit of gold fleck in it. Swim baits, same type of thing. The deeper I go, the lighter the color I get with a little bit of fleck into it. And that's pretty well it. I like to keep things pretty simple. But when I'm throwing a jerkbait, a little bit different. You know, I don't put too much emphasis and color into this kind of stuff because those are mostly your largemouth that I'm fishing for, and they're in close quarters. You get it up into their face, and they're on it. Jerkbaits they come a long way for, and then they go, yeah, maybe not. So yeah. So when you're looking at some of these creature baits, I like to have a little bit of a contrasting color at the end, brown with a little orange, black with a little chartreuse. Sometimes a little bit of red is good. Again, I just pulled out these flipping baits, and you can look what I've got. Pretty basic. I think when something punches through the mat or through the pads, the fish aren't going, oh, wait. It's not black, blue with a red fleck and 17 pieces of gold. I think they see it and they go, yeah, I'm on it. So I hope that answers your question on color. How about drop shotting Lake O in 30 feet of water? What color? Asking for a friend. You can zip it. Zip it. That'll be for another show. How about we do that? Galucci, stop talking about bitters. You can't give away where we get all this stuff, bro. Keep it quiet. Any other questions? We can talk about drop shotting and deep water stuff a little bit later if we want to get technique specific. Any other questions, everybody? Anything else? Hey, those of you who are friends with me on Facebook, shoot me a message. Any other questions you got? I'm here to share everything that I know. I don't know everything. When people say, you know, probably forgot more, it's probably true. One other thing that when you're looking at some of these heads, and you can get, I just want to jump back into this. Let's see, where did he go? A little tiny Senko. Oh, we might have to save that for another time. Yeah, we will. Trickworm, come on, man. I was specifically asked to keep it into this millennium. Trickworms, yeah, again, thinner type of a worm. I rig it the same way, Tony. I really do be like that. Have a good night, Scotty. You take care, bud. Be safe. Same type of thing if I'm throwing a trickworm, but I will change it to a 2-aught hook, and I'll rig it the same way that I throw my Senko. Tube hook, man, we're talking about tubes another time. We know that you make them, bro. Don't worry. I have all kinds of them. I do want to just quickly take a look and see if I have that little bait here. I got stuff all over the place, man. Yeah, you know what? Let's save that. Let's do some finesse stuff for another show. So that's it. We are 10 past 9. I think we've overstayed our welcome. I want to thank everybody again for tuning in. It's fun. I kind of look forward to it. Great way to end the weekend. Stand in my garage with you guys and talk fishing. This millennium, you talked about jigworm. Yeah, thanks, Tony. Listen, buddy, thanks for being there. I really appreciate it. If you want to keep doing this, hey, what's going on, Mike? Miss you, brother. You missed it. Did you see all the stuff I was talking about, Skinny Dipper? You probably missed it. Good night, James. Be safe out there, brother. Thanks for what you do, man. Thanks, Alicia. Throw some stuff up there, columns. Steve, yeah, man. Remember when we were fishing this stuff before? The Skinny Dipper is the way to go. Thanks, Colin. Hey, listen, you take care, Jamie. All right, Mikey. Let's stay in touch. Let's reconnect. Throw some comments up there. If you guys still want to keep doing this, I'm good. You know, we can get into all kinds of other topics. Throw some stuff down in the comments. Shoot me a message. Let's talk about, hey, no problem, Andy. Let's go to Lake O next week. Yeah, let's do that. And we'll film it. I have a whole bunch of GoPros. Actually, I got up. You know what? I'm going to tell you all a funny story. How many people are left? 35. Okay, y'all want to hear a funny story? Hey, Bragsy, hit the road, bud. You want to hear a funny story about fishing a tournament on Rice Lake with Bassmania back when they were filming them on the water? Anybody want to hear that? Yes? Tony says he wants to hear it next week. If 2 people say they want to hear it now, I'll tell the story now. Tony says no. Nobody? Nobody want to hear the story? Always up for a story. All right, so check this out. 2-day tournament, I think it was, my gosh, 94, 95. And yeah, Mikey, you'll love this one. I think I told you about this, and I know you can relate, bro. So, and I mean that in a loving way. So the gentleman I was fishing with at the time, Ted Ramsey. Ted Ramsey, great guy, good fisherman. I learned a lot from him. And we were out there fishing Rice Lake. We got onto one of them bumps and humps that had some smallmouth on it, and we figured we could do really well. So we said to Randy, you should follow us, man. We are on some fish. It'll be great filming. So we get out there. Camera boat's not there yet. And we're like, yes, let's do this. So camera's not there. We're not going to wait for him. So we get out there. We tag like 3-4 fish like within 5 minutes. 10 minutes, maybe. So regarding hooks, we'll talk about hooks in a separate, after the story. So anyways, we start whacking fish. Then the camera boat rolls up, right? Rolls up. So Ted and I, back in them days, we'd fish with, track pants on, shorts, whatever it was. And we're drilling these fish, and Ted's getting down there, and he's netting them all up, and we're high-fiving, and because high-fiving was good in back in the early 90s. And then, he gets one, and I get down there, and I'm netting the fish up, and, we're high-fiving and throw them in the live well. I don't know. We must have caught 10, 15 fish. It was awesome. Had a great sack, and we're talking to, Randy Lees. He goes, I got some great shots, man. This is awesome. It's going to be great TV. We get a call from Randy. I don't know where Ted and I finished. We finished top 10, whatever. Randy calls us later on in the week. He goes, yeah, I'm not going to be able to use any of that footage. None of it. And I'm like, bro, why not? We weren't swearing. We weren't cussing. None of that. He said, without a word of lie, every fish that you guys landed, whoever was netting, all we saw was butt crack. Yeah, plumbers. Whenever we bent down to net the fish, the angle that those guys were on, we were flashing crack. And back then, man, you can't fuzz that stuff out. Full out plumbers. So one of the best days on the water, being filmed, going to be on national television. Who am I kidding? Going to be on Chex TV. Couldn't pull it off because of Cracksville, plumberitis, the whole 9 yards. We did make it up later that year with fishing on balsam, jacking some big fish, but it was not even the same. I thought we were going to be famous, and only our butt cracks were famous. So that's one of 1,000 stories that I've got. I just thought I would share that one. I thought Cracksville. Yeah, it was. And I felt so bad. But anyways. Oh, okay. I got another story, but I'll save that one for next week because I've got lots. Anyways, good night, everybody. Need suspenders. What do you think we are, Mac Teagarden? Anyways, have a great week, everybody. I love you all. Thanks for showing up. Throw some comments up there. You liked it, you didn't like it, what we can do better. Other topics you'd like to see, maybe get into a little bit more detail into some stuff. I'm just trying to cover rigging and simple stuff. Crappie season is coming up. So, no thong, bro. Straight up this, like this, pants and this, just like that. Not good. You're going to have a story. Good. I'll tune in. But anyways, everybody, thank you very much. Throw some comments up, what you'd like to hear, what you like, what you didn't like. I'll make sure everybody here gets their money's worth. That's right. It's free, baby. So thank you very much. Good night, everybody. Peace out. Maximum effort. Cheers.